All right, my boys. So we're going to remove some drawings over here. And I definitely want to start out by letting you guys know one thing. There are moments in your trading career, even me, after like 9 years, literally, I still have some type of, an intimidation towards the markets here and there, right? Especially when I get on these win streaks, like 10 win streak, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 win streak. I'm like, bro, when am I going to lose? And I have that mentality of like, oh my, and it's like, I start messing with my own self here and there. So that happens a lot. So, I mean, we're just traders, bro. We're not market makers. We don't move the markets. So a little bit of insecurity is going to hit here and there. And bro, it happens, bro, to the best of us, literally. So there are moments where you're going to be a little bit intimidated. You can be a little vulnerable mentally in the markets. So the greatest thing that you can always have here is your support and resistance, right? Most of my confidence comes from support and resistance as any trader. So this is my main chart with GJ. If I go over here on the daily, I'll show you something cool. So if I reset this and I go over here, you'll notice all these lines. It's because I have data leading back to, even September, August 2021 here from this whole entire bull run of GJ, right? So again, your confidence is going to come from areas where there is a support and resistance, rejections, and basically telling you where price has been and does not like being. You know what I mean? So in my main chart, I got levels leading back to 2020, 2021. Again, I decided to fully focus on GJ, and it's honestly been the greatest thing ever, man. So never really ever remove your support and levels of resistance, because one day you'll be back. And you can kind of go in the past to literally see what's happened, and you'd be like, oh, I've bought here before many times. Like, you might as well just do a repeat. You feel me? I've won here many times. Like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, confidence comes back, right? So there's nothing greater than confidence ever, so confidence is key. The greatest thing that you can do is definitely put yourself in an area where you will be the most confident. So that's what I like to do with GJ. So the best thing that you can honestly start by doing to start building your confidence is always having your levels of support and resistance. And what I like to do is I like to extend them right? So you can extend left and extend right, so that way you have them forever. Now, the reason why I'm going to put this area right here as a level of resistance is because, as you can see, we have multiple rejections. So what happens? This basically means that mentally in my head, I got an area where I most likely will be rejecting. So if I'm going to be buying anywhere under this area, I would preferably like to get out before we hit this area, right? Because if not, I'm just gonna lose profit, right? History does repeat itself. Remember, these markets, they move accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So as you can see, that's what's happening right now. Literally, boom, that's what's happening right now. So the greatest thing that I've learned how to use was this area down here. This is what we call an indicator. So this indicator is called the accumulation distribution indicator. I'm going to teach you how to use it, right? So this has been my greatest cheat code, the greatest thing that I've ever learned in the 9 years of trading. And when I apply this with my support and resistance in session, I feel invincible, man. But no ego, no pride. I just feel like I can't lose as long as I'm following my strategy, man. You know what I mean? So this is, again, the greatest thing I've ever learned in my trading career. I call it the AD, right? So you can actually go to indicators and you can find it, right? So accumulation distribution indicator, it's this one right over here. Boom, and then it'll add it down here. So again, it's the greatest thing I've ever learned in my trading career ever. So now, one thing that I do want to start off by saying is, when you put that level of resistance, keep in mind, you never want to remove it. Why? Again, as I showed you, I can literally go to the previous levels and I can see forever how long this level has been rejected, this and that. And I'll be real. Now, if I go over here on the daily, on my main chart, it is a little slow, don't get me wrong. There's so much data on here. In my whole entire trading career, trading GJ, you'll notice one thing. I've never been this high up. Never really been this high up, correct? So I am trading all-time highs of my trading career, and it can be a little bit intimidating. But again, I do have my previous levels, and I just gotta follow my trading plan, correct? So now I do want to go back to my main chart. well, my side chart, get out of my main chart. Now I want to draw my levels of support and resistance throughout this whole entire leg that is on the 4-hour, right? So what would that leg be? I would consider this right here a leg, starting from this area, right? So this would be a leg because we have a push and then we have a high, right? So the push over here that started down here, you'll notice that it came up all the way towards here and it stopped here. So I would call that a leg because this push again took out all of these highs. This leg followed through to a new high, which took out these previous highs. So greatest way, easiest way I can explain it is the fact that this moment on this candle started and it ended up all the way up here. This whole entire push is called the leg, and this leg beat the highs of all these other legs. That's probably the easiest way I can explain it. That is the easiest way that I can explain it, right? So now I got a leg. I want to draw on that whole entire leg. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start drawing levels. That makes sense, right? This makes sense right over here. Why does this make sense? Because we have rejections here. We have rejections here, rejections here. Well, it's kind of like more manipulation, fake out. And then we have the drop underneath finally, right? So I like this area right over here. So another thing that I do want to do is I do like this area right over here as well, right? So the fact is I got an area over here with multiple rejections. You want to look for kind of like 4 to 5 plus rejections. So as you can see here, multiple rejections again. We had a drop, we had a retest of this area, multiple. So this area is valid. Another area that I'm going to start off is by that leg right over here. So the reason why I'm going to leave it at this leg is here because the second that we drop down here, that's where the move started. So the fact that this whole entire push right over here literally started right over here, then I really want to probably have a sell. I wanted to sell earlier, but I don't sell Asian, literally, and it was too late to sell at 12. Right, but we talked about it in the group chat, which is free, man. Join up, link is in the description, guys. We're almost 400 members, definitely. So yeah, the sales happened way too early. It sucks, man. So any trader in here that's been trading for a long time knows that it sucks missing out on a move that's not in your session, because it's like, man, what's gonna happen to the next session, you know? So I'd like to completely sell off there. So I would definitely anticipate a push after this correction. You'll see many pushes after the correction because the fact is that these buyers are going to be no longer in the market. There will be a lot of buying opportunities. So buyers will come in the market 100%, right? It's almost guaranteed every single time, almost every single time. So these are levels that I definitely want to bet. Remember, this is the 30-minute. So if you get on the ruler right here, you'll notice that you got ranges, bro. 80 pips, probably like 60 pips right here, 60 pips right there. That's probably another 50 pips right here. So 66 pips. So you got a range over here. So now one thing that I do want to do is I want to get a level underneath this, because if we do start trading under here, I got to have a target. So more than anything, not only do my levels of support and resistance act as area, this is great. Look at this, many rejections, many rejections, many rejections, rejections. So more than anything, these are targets for me. These are targets for me in the probability of where the trade is most likely going to go. So the fact is that now I have a more inner peace. I have a more inner peace that I will most likely, if I am in the right trade, head towards this direction. In this situation, 206. Well, this is, let's just say 207 right now. We're at 207. If I'm going to sell, I think 206, 200 would be a great target. From there, I don't want to be in a trade anymore. So I got that 80 pip range. I got that 80 pip range where I could at least get 30 pips. And in my opinion, 30 pips is always a winning trade. I used to go for about 10 pips a trade, but that was like 7 years ago. Now you can go for 30 pips like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? So a winning trade is a winning trade, man. 30 pips for me is a winning trade. And I do have a rule that I've been following for the last 6 months. If I get 25 pips without any drawdown, less than 5 pips drawdown, that's a free trade. That's free money. That's a win. That's a blessing. I'm out. I'll take it. I don't care if I have a 50 pip stop loss. If I didn't see any drawdown and I got 25 pips off the back, there's no point to be greedy. You walk away with your money. You come back the next day. And somebody who trades millions of dollars told me that, and I just stuck with it, literally, right? So now that I got my areas, I got my targets, there's no need to keep growing more because I'm not there yet, right? I don't want to clutter my chart. So now that I got my levels of support and resistance, I got my targets, I got my areas where I'm confident selling, confident in buying. Remember guys, you always want to buy the support, and you kind of always want to sell the resistance, right? That's the greatest way. That is the greatest way. But there's always going to be more to it, right? You can't just instantly always sell at a support. Like if you look over here, you could have sold here, but you got completely obliterated. There are things that are going to teach you that you cannot do. You cannot do this because there are other levels of confluences that are going to stop you from taking these trades. But if you just start trading blindly based on emotion, I think it's going to go down because we're at support and we're breaking. No, that's not always going to happen. That's not always going to happen. Remember, when the markets go lower, remember, for every seller there's a buyer. So realistically speaking, you're probably going to get caught in a crossfire that you're probably going to get stopped out when you have no confluences. And that's why I really like this accumulation distribution, because it lets me see most likely where price is going to go, because I kind of know where smart money's going. You know what I'm saying? I like to see this because I know where smart money has placed trades hours before the move actually starts to move. You know what I mean? So what am I talking about? Let me give you a perfect example. So you see this drop over here that happened. So if I go over here and I go, for example, right here, right? So if I go over here right now, so it looks like we're in a range, correct? But notice how we are not breaking any highs. Over here, we had a high, and then we had a lower high. So we got lower highs. You can kind of see that the market is having a little decrease right there. You know what I'm saying? So now notice here, this is what I like. So you'll know, I'm going to draw it out here. You'll see this a lot. So what you need to know is accumulation distribution. Are we going to sell underneath here? Or are we going to buy underneath here? And once we break this area, that's usually buys. When we break underneath here, that's usually sells, aggressive, right? So in this situation, I got to sells. Not because I know, because I did a replay. No, because this is how it works. This is how it happens. You can see all the videos that I've ever taught this. It's the same thing. So notice here that we are aggressively pointing to the downside here, breaking all these lows, right? So boom, we just aggressively sold off on the accumulation distribution before we even sold off on the candles on the market, right? So again, this is the greatest thing that I've ever learned in my whole entire trading career, and I really hope you guys learn it, really. Now what happens? Notice here we have a bullish close, bullish engulfing. Some people would buy this. But what is my accumulation distribution telling me? We are still bearish. We're most likely going to sell off, right? But then again, we have something here that I've been holding. We're going to get into this as well. This is called the fixed range volume profile, and it has something called the point of control. You're going to see it's going to be a yellow line. Boom. We have something called the point of control. It automatically puts a yellow line, right? So what is that yellow line? Again, that is called the point of control. That is going to tell me that it's going to act like a level of support and resistance. Underneath this yellow line, sellers are in control. Above this yellow line, buyers are in control. So the fact is that I have the point of control telling me that we are most likely going to sell off because we've been trading underneath. We have what we call these indicators right over here. It's a 50 SMA and a 200 SMA and a 300 SMA, right? So the fact is that I have 3 psychological levels of support and resistance right there rejecting these candles, and I have accumulation distribution telling me we're most likely going to sell off. What am I going to do? I'm going to take this sell. I'm going to take this sell, right? So notice we have more aggression towards the downside, a freaking massive rejection at this 5200 SMA followed by a bearish engulfing candle. That is a sell all day, every day. Towards, here's an example, right? That is a sell all day, every day, 24/7. I would take that. That's my confluences. It's all there, right? So now I use the simple moving average, which is called the SMA, right? So I use the SMA 50, the SMA 200, the SMA 300, right? So now these are called simple moving averages. You can find them anywhere. They're literally all over the place. So one thing about the SMA 50 is SMA 50 is more of a short term. It's a short term, and I like it a lot. I use it all the time, especially since I'm in 30-minute plays most of the time. But then we have the 200 SMA. This is kind of a medium slash, I can't even type, bro. Medium slash long term play. The 200, and then we have the 300, right? The 300 is the heavyweight. That is the overall direction. Junior just traders literally trade this exact way at Goldman Sachs, right? So I have the pleasure of learning how to trade like them. Again, I used to be super famous, so I did make some connections, and hey man, I learned a lot of things, especially during my fall off and me getting closer to God. So you know, I made a lot of great connections, and I brought them back into my life, you know, with that relationship, right? God does open doors, you know. So you know, this is how a friend of mine and people who trade at Goldman Sachs, that's how they're trading. I promise you, that is how it is. Anybody tells you not, that is ego, that is pride, that is assumption talking, right? So again, this is the 3 SMAs that I use. The 50 is the short term, the 200 is the medium long term, and the 300 is a heavyweight. It is the overall one, correct? So that's why I like to use them. Right, so you'll notice a lot of rejections at a lot of these SMAs. So when you put them in your favor and you work with them instead of against them, you never want to trade against them. You always want to trade in confluence, right? So if I'm selling, I gotta be under my SMAs or targeting an SMA that's in a distance, right? So in this situation, I got my 200 and my 50 SMA heading towards the downside with most of my confluences. Now, I do have a 300 SMA over here. That could be potentially a problem, right? So how do I stop that fear of, okay, I'm probably going to get rejected at this 300 SMA? I go one time frame higher always. So always go one time frame higher. Notice here, okay, I got more moving space right over here. So if I just press play on this 30-minute, on this 1 hour, you'll notice that we just made our way straight towards the 1 hour 200 SMA. And if I look here on a 30-minute, you'll notice I had a rejection and a stop and then a pullback here. This probably could have got you a little bit emotional. Who knows? But the fact is that my 30-minute and my 1 hour time frame were in 100% symbiosis. I'm definitely taking the sells with full confidence, and you could have got a 50 pip move right there. Correct? So now, again, these are just targets. The whole move happened. So again, I do want to show you that this happens every single day. It does. But if you start looking at it like a game, you'll start winning a lot. You'll win a lot, right? So this is 5 in the morning over here, right? So this was definitely the trade that I missed out on. I really wanted these sells. So you'll notice over here that we had a pushback, but we had a rejection on this 30-minute 50 SMA, right? So notice how the 300 SMA kind of just crossed over, right? So that's pretty nice. And if we look on the 1 hour, you're just going to see a 200 SMA right over here acting in a little bit of a little fight over here. But now when you have this point of control, let's just move it over here. If I have this point of control, I got to move it on this leg. You'll notice that we did respect it in confluence with this level. And the fact is that we couldn't break it at 9 o'clock in the morning. It did push up. So this buy definitely had some resources behind it. Buyers were in control. 30 pip candle. Can't go wrong with it, right? I don't really know how much you guys are trading for, but if you're doing for 1 to 4s, you're setting yourself up for failure. It doesn't exist. I've never met anybody consistently profitable on real trading results hitting 1 to 4s. That does not exist unless you have billions of fucking dollars, right? Sorry for my French, but it's just the truth, right? So now we have the point of control, not against us. So this is not a good trade to sell off here. You know, you kind of want to wait. So, you know, again, point of control, we use it most of the time, but not all the time, right? So let's see if we can catch these sells. So notice over here, we're rejecting 50 SMA, we're under 300 SMA. We are on a very valid sell. Why is this a valid sell? This would be a Fibonacci. I'm pretty sure this was a 50 rejection. It was a 5618 rejection. Correct. Great. And we are at a leg that took out all of these lows right over here, right? So you see all these lows right here, we're trading underneath. So this leg took out all of them. So this sell would be 100% very valid. You have multiple confluences for the sell. This was the sell right here. I didn't take it because I wasn't paying attention. I'm not gonna lie, man. I was not focused, and I had some people that take this in the group, which was really great. So, you know, sometimes you're gonna have to stretch this out a little bit just to kind of see where it's pointing out under. And if you notice, here's the aggression. We can kind of see that we're aggressively going down, even though we are pushing towards upside. Remember, guys, you kind of want to be focused on the point right over here, right? Just like how I said, where we're gonna go from here to here. It's the same thing. Where we're gonna go here, right? So you'll notice that. So don't be insecure about it. Do a lot of back testing. It is the greatest way that you can learn. And I can definitely tell you from experience, after back testing probably 700,000+ million hours of this, just kidding. I did back test a few hundred trades, I ain't gonna lie, right? So we all have something called a reticular activating system. So the more you back test and the more that your brain sees these valid setups, it starts to get the other trading setups that are not good setups. They start to your brain starts to deem them like irrelevant. So it's like, I don't want to be in an irrelevant trade. You know what I mean? It's just going to set yourself up for failure if you take it. So the fact is, if you can trade based on seeing what is profitable in the situation, how I trade, then if I don't trade during my conditions, I'm most likely going to lose, right? So, what can I recommend you guys? If you look down here, there is a promo. It's called Get Funded, fundedhero.com, code YouTube, 60% off. And that helps support me, it supports the channel, supports my group. And I've been trading with Funded Hero for 3 months now. And they have 15,000 people in the Discord, man. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars in payouts, all legitimate proof, man. And you guys should definitely take advantage of it, boys. You don't have to trade alone. You can definitely get an account and trade with me. I would love that, honestly. It'd be an honor for me, seriously, right? We can trade together. So I do want to show you guys more examples. So let me show you a bullish example. So this was a trade that I took with my group the other day. It was these 2 back-to-back buys, right? So I'm going to show you these buys. Look at this accumulation distribution, just beautiful. So we're above this level of support, right? So we're above this level of support. Bullish engulfing candle, aggression on this side, pure aggression, bro. Bullish engulfing candle above this level of support. Look at the time, 6:30 in the morning. Now look at the next candle. Look at boom. Oh, I'm telling you, this is just a golden setup. Golden setup. $25. Boom, there you go. So we do have that fib extension. So that's kind of where I was going. So that was a great setup. Everything was in confluence. Now here's another golden setup that I took over here. This was beautiful, man. I ain't gonna lie. This was like no drawdown. I got out early on this one. I think I got about 26 pips on this. So you'll notice here, well, it was actually before this. So here, there you go. Notice this accumulation distribution candle over here on the downside, pointing super aggressive. And boom, that was kind of my entry. Still straight up pointing aggressive. I got it on the trade above the 50 SMA, 200 SMA rejection. I'm above the 300. We rejected the 50 on the fib, and I was like, yeah, this is a golden trade right here. And took the trade with the group, and it was a winner. It was actually a great trade, man. So what can I say, bro? I mean, when you follow a strict trading plan, it's very hard to lose. I removed most of my things over here, but guys, all you got to do is just focus. That's all you got to do. Just focus on a winning trading setup that you're gonna see most of the time, and let your brain just kind of like just like print that, like, okay, this is how it looks, this is here, okay, boom, like this is a good trade. Look at the accumulation distribution. We literally just took out all of these highs over here, which is all of these highs, but we're down here, we're above. This is a nice break and retest right over here. Okay, cool, I'm gonna take this freaking buy. The accumulation distribution is showing me aggressively buying right over here. There's another perfect setup. Like, bro, you can just take these trades comfortably, man. You know, let me see if we can see something on these sells over here. So go to these trades that happen, man. Go to these, look at that aggression right there. That's a great sell confirmation. Look at that. She was super to the downside. Yeah, you got a little pullback, but of course, what happens every single time we're gonna go down, we gotta go up a little bit, right? That's how we make wicks. So look at that, straight up bleeding underneath, breaking underneath. That's a good one. There you go. That's a dead giveaway. That is a dead giveaway. Look at that aggression right there, right? So again, there you have it. Where we going? Where we going? Broke underneath. Perfect. That's a super dead giveaway, right? So again, just start focusing, guys, on training your brain to see what the accumulation distribution looks like and what it looks like. Let's say, like, for example, like you could use the point of control on this one, but as you can see, I didn't really need it. But if I were to run it from this low to this high, you'll notice that from the top, I was already bearish. Sellers were in control since this area. So what happened? I mean, I didn't really need it, but if you like to have a confidence extra, I mean, that's just an extra confidence. Usually I just whip it out, no homo, when I am, what the freak, ADHD moment. I just whip it out. Can't say that, bro, not laugh. I just take this tool out when I am feeling a little insecure. When the trade looks too good to be true, I'm like, yeah, let me just triple verify. And I'm like, yeah, this is trade. Yeah, this is it. All right, so again, my boys, I hope you guys like this little mini course, guys. Yo, I'm telling you, man, get funded, use Funded Hero, and I'm telling you guys, yo, join my trading community, man. I would be honored to teach you guys more about this. So again, guys, you don't need to complicate your trading, man. Just straight up use these indicators all together. And as you can see, we're rejecting the 300 SMA up there. Use the 300, use the 200, use the 50 SMA. They're the greatest indicators. Back test, man. You got to stop being lazy, man. God will never bless a foundation that you are not committed to. That's number one. That is number one. All right. And I've said this many times before. If your reason why you want to be a successful trader is tied to sin, ego, and pride, God will not finance it. There will be no breakthrough. You will never ever break through. You will always be in that same stage. Why? That is why social media is a very big poison in your life, because you sit there and you worship these other people like they're gods because they're doing what you wish you were doing. And the one God out there is literally telling you, okay, you want to be like him? All right, let's see what he does for you. That's why he does nothing for you, man. God is the one who provides. He is the one who gives the ability to produce wealth. That is Deuteronomy 8:18. So if God is the reason why you can be successful, why not glorify him, bro, through your trading, man? What do you have to lose, man? Literally, what do you have to lose? All right, love you guys. Peace.